Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, my mom feels entitled to my inheritance money. She wants to use it to put a down payment on a house. I only found out about it 6 years later because I looked into a cabinet in our house and did some research. Entitled mom doesn't live here, but everything must be done her way. My mom throws a fit over not being invited to a wedding plus AITA for thinking she overreacted? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. My mom feels entitled to my inheritance money. She wants to use it to put a down payment on a house. I only found out about it 6 years later because I looked into a cabinet in our house and did some research. I, 24F, found out earlier this year that I was supposed to receive around $160,000 in inheritance money when my father passed away. I found out by looking into a cabinet in our house. I was compelled to do so because my mother acts rich or poor whenever it suits her, plus other strange behavior. I found a letter that was addressed specifically to me from the life insurance company that had my inheritance. All I needed to do was submit some paperwork and they'd give me a check. I'm not sure how, but my mother somehow submitted documents for me and even cashed the check that was in my name. I'm also not sure why she felt entitled to it when she got $500,000 in inheritance herself. When I confronted her about it, she obviously did not take it well. She was very adamant that it's her money until I informed her that, after I found the documents, I called the life insurance company and received photocopies of the check, the submitted documents, etc. After I told her that, she tried negotiating with me, stating that she can give me $10,000 to start with, and then $2,000 every month. I said no. I said she will guilt me into delaying her payments if we go that route. She tells me she will be homeless if I get all the money at once. I eventually make her show me her bank statements. As far as I know, she has around $330,000. In addition, she's been making 6 figures with her job for the past 3 years. Homeless my ass. I told her I need a good amount of money if I want to have any chance of moving out. I wanted to move out with my friend, but my mom took way too long to give me any money. I received $50,000 from her. Like a week or so later, she started asking if she could borrow $20,000 for a month. She said she needs it in her bank account so that the lender can approve of the condo or house she wants to buy. She asked if I will be okay, and I stupidly told her that I'd be getting grants from school too. She then wanted to borrow $20,000 on top of the grant money by passive-aggressively mentioning it whenever she could. A few weeks later, she forced me to go with her to the bank to withdraw $20,000. This was on October 3rd. On November 23rd, I asked her to give me $2,000. I told her it's been almost 2 months and I want a portion of it back, via text. She gives me the silent treatment, in text and in person. The next day I try calling her. She starts crying hysterically, saying, "I knew I shouldn't have trusted you with money. What are you doing? Drugs? Are you gambling? Why are you so mean? You ruined my holiday. You've ruined my life. You're abnormal. You're just doing this because you're behind in your life and you're desperate. You don't have utilities to pay for. I spent so much money on food the past month. I'm not exaggerating when I say I've never told her to buy me food or make me food. But she always uses it as a form of guilt." A couple of days later, we have a 4-hour argument. During this argument, I was so disgusted with her behavior that I told her that I want nothing to do with her. A couple of days after that, to my surprise, she comes into my room and asks me to hug her. She starts crying and says that she just suppresses her thoughts and feelings. She says she'll give me $500 now and then $500 on December 22nd? What the hell? I swallowed my anger for a couple of days, but then I could no longer hold it in. I wasn't giving her the silent treatment, but I wasn't looking at her or initiating any form of talking. She notices this and starts asking what's wrong. She goes, "It's the money, isn't it?" and then repeats the same thing she did last time. Are you gambling? You have no utilities, etc. And again, she made it very clear that she wants to buy a condo or a house, I just can't remember which. I told her I'm mad at her because you told me you needed $20,000 for a month. It's been over 2 months and now you're still not giving it. So you lied. After this, she started acting like she was about to cry, and then she left the house. She then transferred another $500. I haven't talked to her since. It infuriates me that she thinks she's entitled to this money. Why do you need a house? You're getting old and you're single. Secondly, not only was this money only in your account in the first place because you committed fraud, but now I let you borrow money, and you're going to treat it like it's an allowance? It's my money. Legally. Get over it. You already got $500,000 before you took my money. Since I was 18, I've been working minimum wage jobs. She's made it so clear as day that she thinks her needs are way above mine. I don't have utilities, I don't have a career yet, so I'm less important. Even if that's factually true, I'm your child and that money is legally mine. Also, I just want to share this example of her behavior that I just remembered. When I was 19, I was working at a tutoring place in addition to a restaurant, while taking 16 units in college, with no car. I was leaving the house one day to go get a haircut. My mom then asked me, "Where are you going?" I told her I'm going to get a haircut. She then says, verbatim, "Really? You're supposed to be using that money to help me." That's how entitled she is. Like OMG. At this point, she received $660,000, while her child, who is a full-time student with 2 jobs and no car, is not important enough to use the money they earn from their job to get a haircut. I'm so mad, and I just have a huge problem with getting this taken care of because I hate making people uncomfortable. This is also why I usually cannot blindside a person by randomly bringing an issue up. I usually have to text them first. But I'm starting to think that that's never a good idea. Ugh. Update 01/03/2023/ not sure if many people will see this, but I've contacted 5 law firms so far for consultations and will be discussing everything with them. I'm still absolutely terrified of going through with anything, but I'm trying to push myself through. I'm terrified that I'm not deserving of the money and that I'm a terrible person for doing this. Update January 14, 2023, had a consultation with a lawyer yesterday that said it seems like an open and shut case. They told me to see if I can do a little more digging in regard to my dad's assets before he passed, and to talk to the insurance company to see what my options are, and to call back on Tuesday the 17th. Get an attorney and sue her, she's manipulating you right and left. And she's falsified documents and stole your money. Press charges. Also, put the bank on notice. They released funds without OP's go-ahead. They are also responsible. Follow this advice op. You will never get the money that is rightfully yours unless you do. Get a lawyer. Mail fraud. Insurance fraud. Identity theft. Why are you being miserable for her? She's very likely ruining your credit and aspects of your future. You don't owe her anything. You need to stop this before it's too far. Also, check and freeze your credit. If you have to sue her for anything else, let's dig it out now. Your mother stole $160,000 from you and you're worried about making her uncomfortable? She obviously wasn't uncomfortable forging your signature to steal the money. She has the money in her account and you should demand she repay it in full immediately. She's a shit person for continuing to manipulate you, and so what if she suddenly can't afford something as a direct consequence of her theft? She should be grateful you haven't retained an attorney and come after her or called the police. This is why threats of using law enforcement work. Honey, this is fraud, theft, and blatant financial abuse. You need out, and you need to get your money back from her. Most importantly, never give your mother a single penny ever again. You should also consider getting some help, because she's made it impossible for you to have perspective and realize just how bad she is to you. You deserve better, and your dad wanted you better prepared for life than this. Get a lawyer to do it, and move out. Lawyer up, like yesterday. She is going to keep going into manipulating you. That money could be your lifesaver from a life with her close, and she knows it. Regain your power. Entitled mom doesn't live here, but everything must be done her way. To start, this is a vent post, no big confrontation, just a very annoying entitled mom, so I'm sorry if this fits better somewhere else. I live in a rental. We have a shared garden, laundry room, and other amenities. It's a mix of rentals and owned apartments, and most residents, including myself, have lived here for several years. That's to say, you generally know who comes and goes around here. Over the summer, this lady has started coming and going all over the property. It's the mom of a newer resident, who actually seems nice enough. This mom is entitled, but in a slightly different way. She has slowly begun taking over all the shared space of our building. These are some of the things she's been doing. EM leaves passive-aggressive notes when she's dissatisfied with something X. This machine is broken. Who's going to fix it? There's a manual next to the machine, clearly stating the number you need to call to get it fixed. Can we all maybe remember to empty the lint collector in the dryer? It's not that hard, smiley face. And then leaves without emptying the lint collector herself. She often wants a specific resident to deal with it, but doesn't address him through anything but the notes. He is in no way the janitor. EM opens all the doors and windows in the basement, and refuses to close them. A passive-aggressive note informed me it's because the basement is too humid. I can understand it if you're gonna be in the area and need to access the basement, but she just opens everything and leaves. If you go close them, she will go back down, open them again, and leave. I came down the other day, and not only were everything open, the shared laundry room keys were in the outside door. She was nowhere around. This is not a low-crime area, and she's putting us at risk to be robbed in a way where insurance won't cover anything. This is also kind of triggering for me, as I was subjected to arson in a previous housing situation due to this exact behavior. She also had a phase where she'd prop open the front doors and all the fire doors as well, but that has fortunately not stuck. We have a really nice shared apple tree in the garden. The apples are plenty and delicious. Take what you need kind of thing. A neighbor of mine went out to grab an apple for herself and her kid, and immediately the EM flings open a window and yells, "Don't take those. They aren't ripe yet." Neighbor is like, "I'll take my chances, thanks." EM huffs and is like, "Suit yourself, but you're gonna have a bad time." Just really weird apple entitlement. EM decided that the laundry booking system was bad and implemented her own system. Before, you just booked the laundry room, and you'd have it available in the book time slots. With this new system, you gotta book the individual machine in the individual hours you plan to use each machine. Of course, the new system has a passive-aggressive note attached. The first time I booked time slots, she actually deleted them, not because she wanted to use that slot herself. I had just done it wrong. Sad face. Infuriating. We have a no loose dogs in the shared garden rule. It's mostly to avoid random dog poops, but it's not the only reason. Entitled mom does not care. Her daughter's chihuahua is constantly off leash and running everywhere. The other night I heard it try to attack a cat. A few weeks ago, my kitchen started smelling really weird, like chemical and toxic. The smell kept getting stronger, and I could not figure out where it was coming from. Went to the basement, and some areas were also pungent. I asked a neighbor if he knew where the smell was coming from, and he helped me search for the source. Turns out, EM had been soaking some wooden fence posts in paint thinner, and thought it was a great idea to leave them to dry in the tool closet right below my kitchen, sending all those nice toxic fumes right up through the vents. The neighbor got EM to move them. I want to reiterate, she does not live here. The daughter has a really busy job, so the EM is around a lot, I suspect to take care of the dog, and evidently the daughter's laundry. Because of this, she feels entitled to micromanage all shared space. Several other residents are really sick of her antics, and she has been confronted at least once by janitor man's mom, who also owns a rental in the building. I just needed to get this off my chest, because I have no idea how to address this. She's just really annoying. Are you allowed to bring in unauthorized roommates or subletters? She is constructively telling you that she lives there through her actions and notes. If there's a rule against roommates and sublets, there you go. She can't try to control how you live if she doesn't live there, and if you try to kick her out for living there and she argues that she doesn't, then she has no say and just agreed that she doesn't. In my community, we've had similar issues with tenants sneaking in others in violation of their lease. They ended up getting evicted. Get the other tenants/owners together and as a group either write a letter or approach the daughter in person. Explain all of her mother's actions that are unwelcome and inappropriate and tell her that, basically, she needs to get her mom under control because everyone is sick of her crap. So far the most helpful reply, as there is no common landlord. Those of us who rent from the individual owners of the apartments. The daughter owns her apartment, and as such there is no way to legally evict the EM, as long as she's a guest at her daughter's place. But making her aware that her mom is being inappropriate might help. Ask her to leave, and if she doesn't, get her trespassed. If she is not accompanied by her daughter, she has no business being in such areas. My mom throws a fit over not being invited to a wedding plus AITA for thinking she overreacted? Context: a cousin of mine on my mother's side is getting married due to a limited budget and seats. My household was not invited, but we aren't the only ones who didn't receive an invitation. I completely understand though, and part of me didn't want to go in the first place. Redid the formatting because people were getting confused and I wrote this when I was tired. Mom received a call from her sister about my cousin's wedding. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I think her sister asked if we got our invitation yet. Mom said that we did not, and her sister said that she got hers. Unfortunately, Mom threw a fit and complained to her cousin through her great uncle. She thought that the cousin's family was being ableist. I have too many disorders for me to list, and nearly lost control over her emotions. Keep in mind that another household in the family did not receive an invitation either. I understand that seats and money are limited, but I think Mom was taking this too personally. After things cooled down, I talked to Dad about this and said that I have been stressing over what I was going to wear to the wedding ever since it was announced. I was thinking about chickening out and making up some excuse not to go, like a cold. Dad, being a fellow introvert, said that he didn't want to go either. We now have plans to go somewhere fun on the day of the wedding instead of the wedding. AITA for thinking my mom overreacted a little? NTA. Sorry, your mom is a attention-seeking person. Seriously, it'd be one thing if it was a big wedding and everyone else was invited, though you still shouldn't throw a fit about it. But smaller weddings can be tough figuring out which people you really want there. Honestly, if I ever get married again, I don't want a wedding. I've done the whole stressful thing before and it's just not worth it. Why you guys abbreviate all? I cannot understand shit. Right. The first three are okay, but why is cousin S and aunt C? Like, at least use the same first letter for each. Info: why did you talk to your dad about it and not your mom, the cause of the drama? Direct communication is the best. Mom, I appreciate you looking out for me, but if I were offended I would tell you, and I actually didn't want to go anyway. In the future, please don't start wars on my behalf before talking to me first, as it makes me feel like I'm being treated like a child who can't stand up for myself, and that is more hurtful than not being invited to a wedding. I don't know. Something is preventing me from being direct about my feelings, and I wasn't in the clearest state of mind. Thank you for the insight. I have relatives I just don't like enough to invite to my wedding. It's not polite, but it's true. Maybe your mom didn't make the cut because cousin doesn't like her. The only two people who really need to be a wedding are the bride and groom. Everybody else is a bonus. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.